Hello beautiful souls and welcome to my channel Roseology. So today's video is inspired by the new moon happening in the sign of Gemini, May 22nd, 2020. This video I'm doing things a little bit differently. Normally during these new and full moon videos, I have a collective general tarot spread for all of us. But this video I'm going to do things a little bit differently where I take that collective reading and actually split it up into 3 separate piles. That way it's just a little bit more personal and a little more intimate for each of you. If you guys like this new way of doing things, let me know in the comment section down below, or if you prefer the old way where I just keep it one general collective reading for the whole, let me know in the comment section, okay? I keep getting asked if I'm doing any sort of personal readings at the time. No, I am not. I'm so sorry, you guys. I know there's a lot of you that do want personal readings, but I'm taking a bit of a break for now. And lastly, I think the thing that I did want to mention, my rings just got hooked on each other. But lastly, the thing that I wanted to mention is that I do not have any social media. All I have is this YouTube channel here, so it's a one-stop shop for all of you. If you know exactly why you are here, then you can head down to the comments in the description section down below for the different points and topics discussed in this video, like the meditation, the astrological chart, and the 3 separate piles for the tarot reading, okay? Okay, so now jumping into this Gemini new moon. Now, it really does not matter how do my rings keep getting caught on each other? It's really annoying. Okay, so now just jumping straight into the fire here. One thing that I definitely wanted to talk about is that astrologically, when we are looking at the astrological charts, there's a lot of retrogrades that are happening right now. We've got Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Pluto, all in retrograde. And you may be hearing different people talking about how when something goes retrograde, this means that this is going to happen. This means that that is going to happen. You know, somebody mentioned it in the comments, one of the videos, like they were talking to someone else. And it was a little bit annoying because they were like, you know, Venus is going retrograde, so I wouldn't count on your relationship working out. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. First of all, astrology is a tool. It's a tool used to see the energetic atmosphere or the energetic forecast of a certain or a particular period in time. Okay, so that's all it is. We're just looking at the forecast, just like the weatherman. You check the weather forecast before you go to work or school or leave your house or whatever. You check the weather forecast to see it's going to be raining today. We don't just go, oh, fuck it, you know, my whole life is ruined. I can't go to work today. I can't do anything today because it's raining. No, we just prepare and we pack an extra umbrella or 2 and a raincoat and we keep it moving, right? And everyone has a completely different natal chart. No 2 natal charts are identical or the same. It's like your very own energetic thumbprint. That means that you have your own energetic makeup, and when it is sort of interacting with the transits happening in the skies, because the planets are constantly moving, it's going to mean something completely separate. It's going to be a completely different experience for each and every person. And the last thing that we have to factor in when we are looking at astrology is the fact that yes, this might be happening. Yes, this might be the conditions, but just like the weather forecaster, the weatherman tells you it's going to be raining, it's up to you if you want to take a raincoat or not. It's up to you if you want to go out there and get drenched. It's up to us. So free will is another huge factor to consider. We need to see it as there's a probability. There's a high chance of this. There's a high chance of that. But nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone because we still have to factor in your free will, your God-given right, birthright to choose how to deal with said conditions. Okay, so that's just one thing that I really wanted to cover before getting into this, discussing this astrological chart, because I want to make sure that you guys are using astrology to empower yourself and not to disempower the self. Use it as a way to really exercise your intuitive capabilities, where it's like, you know what, I'm kind of feeling like maybe this isn't the best time for me to get into a relationship or buy a house or whatever the case. Let me go ahead and check the chart. So let me go ahead and pull a card. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump straight into the astrological chart for this Gemini new moon. So what is a new moon? So new moon is when the sun and moon sit conjunct. Conjunction just means that 2 luminaries, 2 celestial bodies, 2 planets are sitting within usually around 8 degrees or so of each other. They're sitting close together. So this is a mixing and mingling of their frequencies, of their properties, of their principles, of their morals, of what it is that they stand for. And the sun represents the ego, the way it is that we identify, how it is that we see ourselves. And the moon represents the subconscious, more emotional, instinctive part of ourselves. This is the truest part of the self, the part of the self that is usually hidden behind layers and layers and layers of the sun, otherwise known as the ego, okay? So this is a merging of energies and polarities and characteristics and traits and things like that when we are dealing with the sun and the moon coming together for a new moon, okay? And let me go on ahead and say happy birthday to all my Gemini babies out there. My dad's a Gemini. His birthday's coming up in a couple days. Me and him are actually like 4 or 5 days apart, 5 days apart from each other. My birthday's May 18th. His birthday's May 23rd, just like my mom and my brother's birthday. They're both in February. It's so weird. Yeah, so happy birthday to all my Gemini babies out there. And all my Taurus babies. I know we just came out of Taurus season. I loved it so much. I used that time to really plant a whole bunch of seeds. I hope you guys did too, because we're starting to see, not necessarily things coming into fruition, but we're starting to see a little bit of movement here. Okay. So, let's talk about Gemini's energy for a second. So Gemini is the sign that is ruled by the planet Mercury, and it is ruled by the 3rd house. So this is a mutable air sign. So this is an information, data, intel, and verbally driven sign when we're dealing with Gemini, because Mercury is the planet that rules the mind, the intellect, how we learn, how we communicate. So Gemini lives to learn and hunt and seek out knowledge. It loves that little cat and mouse game that it plays with discovering some new sort of information. And this is very fitting after the Scorpio full moon that we had a couple of weeks ago revealed a lot about our innermost self, the subconscious self, the unconscious self, aka also known as our shadow. So now we are digesting this information and encounter that we just recently had with the shadow self. So looking at this chart for the astrological chart for this new moon in Gemini, when I first saw the chart, and you guys know when I first see astrological charts, either I hear something or I'll see something, I'll get a visual, something like that. And when I first saw this new moon in Gemini chart, the thing that I heard was this is a Wheel of Fortune moment where we are literally taking our very own hands, we're grabbing that wheel and we are shifting things. Basically, things are progressing, but we might not be able to visually see it just yet. This is a very crucial moment that's happening with this new moon of Gemini, where we decide how we use the information that we've just recently received or became aware of. So this is a crucial point right now where we take this knowledge that we've just received and we decide, do we want to evolve it to wisdom, or do we want to devolve it just back to information and data? And this is because there are steps when it comes to information. Information matures to knowledge, and knowledge evolves into wisdom. And it's not that information and data are any less valuable than knowledge, but it's just that knowledge is proven or verified, certified information. And wisdom is a system or collection of that knowledge, of that data and information. Now, Gemini is mutable because he has to be, just like Virgo, who's also ruled by Mercury. And an energy that is hardwired to take in information or to receive, just receive in general, has to be mutable, has to be malleable, has to be flexible, has to be adaptable, because this makes them more open-minded and more accepting of new or different information. And this is why Gemini is known to shapeshift or be the twins, be considered bipolar, whatever the case, because Gemini evolves with every new piece of information that they gather. So how do we mature information, data, intel into knowledge? Well, we mature information into knowledge by using it. So let's just use an example. Let's just say that we gather some sort of information about our bodies, right? So the first step is developing awareness. Opening our eyes. We realize through observation that there's a certain food that breaks us out. Every time I eat a certain food, I break out. And we prove that theory by cutting that particular food out of our diet. And that's when theory, observation, awareness, information becomes knowledge. And knowledge becomes wisdom once a particular theory is proven to be valid or accurate with different methods and through different methods, where no matter how you slice it up, you end up with the same result. So let's just say that you wanted to take it a step further with this knowledge that you just recently picked up that, hey, this certain food, let's just say it's dairy, makes me break out. So you remove dairy from your diet, your skin clears up, and then you're like, you know what, let me experiment a little bit more with my diet. We start playing around with the information that has been proven to be knowledge, to be useful, to be beneficial or productive or effective. And this is how we accrue knowledge into then wisdom, because knowledge is buildable information. We're able to take it and really build upon it, especially if you start taking those data points and connecting them together, applying them to other things. then it's like the realization, the awareness becomes even greater. So knowledge is buildable information because it leads us to more questions, which ends up expanding our mind. And this is why I call this new moon in Gemini a very crucial wheel of fortune moment, because knowledge is true power. And with this power, we can really start to shape and direct our own lives. Now, moving on to Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mercury, all in the sign of Gemini. So these 4 planets are opposing the South Node in Sagittarius. There's something kind of interesting here. Gemini is getting a lot of action because the North Node just switched into the sign of Gemini. The South Node just switched into the sign of Sagittarius. And we have Venus going retrograde in the sign of Gemini. And now we also have the Sun, Moon, and Mercury joining in the sign of Gemini. Okay, so, and like I was saying, these 4 planets are opposing the South Node that is sitting in the sign of Sagittarius. So this is us feeling so far away from our old self. We're feeling a lot more distance between our past and the future that we're trying to work or move towards. Because everything has surfaced, especially the unconscious, the hidden things have surfaced, we now have a visual idea of what it is that we are dealing with in our life. Venus retrograde is giving us a deep understanding of how we got here, of how lack of self-esteem, weakened egos, overzealous pride, and denial got us here. The Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mercury are also starting to close in on the North Node here. Well, Venus is actually starting to move away from the North Node, but the Sun, Moon, and Mercury, they are starting to close in on the North Node. Once Venus stations direct yet again after June 25th, she will be moving closer to the North Node as well. This is revealing a trajectory, a course, or a pathway of the road ahead. So we're being given the opportunity to reposition ourselves right now, to get ourselves back on the right path, on the right track, back in the place where we belong. But now we're refreshed, we're renewed, we have a fresher set of eyes, because now we're more aware of the things that were holding us back, those hidden things that were holding us back. It was kind of like the Devil card that we became aware of a couple weeks ago, that Scorpio full moon, where it's just like, oh, this is what I've been tethered to. This is what I've been chained up to this entire time. I didn't even notice it. I didn't even recognize it. And this is why we couldn't really see the future before, because we had these big ass boulders, these big blockages just sitting right in front of us. So we weren't able to see past it. But now with the awareness, with the realization of, hey, there's actually a road right in front of me. I'm just not able to see it because of this blockage here. Now we are able to do something with that blockage. Now we are able to do something with this information. And this is why I'm saying that productive information, effective information, beneficial information, information that we can capitalize off of is knowledge, because now we can take this information and say, well, let me go on ahead and get rid of this blockage. That the way I can see the road ahead. So it's really important for us to be extra aware, extra alert at this time, because we are becoming very aware of major blockages in our life, blockages that just are not going to go anywhere if we keep doing the same thing. If we stay at the same exact position that we have been on in the wheel, nothing is going to change. We have to recorrect ourselves. We have to reorient. We have to reposition. And I also say this because Mars just recently entered the sign of Pisces and is squaring the sun and the moon. So Mars walked into Pisces' house and had the nerve to start some issues with the sun and the moon. So basically, with Mars, the god of war, and Neptune, the goddess of the ethereal realms, both in the sign of Pisces, and Mars and Neptune is at home in the sign of Pisces. So with this setup here, we are learning how to receive by surrendering. We have to surrender. Sometimes we have to stop kicking and screaming and fighting. Sometimes we have to stop being angry. Sometimes we have to stop holding on to a grudge. Sometimes we have to let go of resentment. Sometimes we have to give in to those things that make up our normal. We have to give them up, because if not, we're not going to be able to reposition ourselves. And do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? Do you want to keep running into that major blockage and that big ass boulder as long as you're allowed to point the finger and say how this person wronged you and how that person wronged you? Or do you just want to say, you know what, let bygones be bygones. You're out of my life. I'm going my separate way, but I need to go conquer and claim the life that is meant for me. And in order for us to do that, sometimes we have to allow people to, in our mind, the way that we perceive it, get away with murder. Sometimes we perceive it that way when we forgive people. We perceive it as they're just getting away with something that they did that was really shitty and it really hurt me. But it's like I was saying, you can be right or you can be happy. Do you want to make this person pay? Because if you want to make them pay, you can, but it's going to also cost you. And what it's going to cost you is your future, your ability to move forward and to be happy, because you still have that chip on your shoulder in order to actually receive abundance and love and fulfillment. Fulfillment is something we have to receive. That's why it's fulfilling, because we receive it. We can't receive anything if we're blocked. Some people say that anger is a really useful emotion. For some of us, it's a very, very reliable and useful sort of like jumpstart almost in a way. You know, it can be a really nice catalyst to get things going. To say, you know what? You just told me I can't do something. Damn it, I'm gonna prove you wrong. You know, and it's a nice little catalyst to get you going, but eventually you have to release that. Eventually you have to let go. Eventually it's like, okay, you've proven your point. Are you ready to go and really conquer the world now? Are you really ready to go out and conquer your future now? Are you still trying to prove Jack and Jill wrong? Screw them, forget about them, because that's too heavy of a price to pay. So with Mars and Neptune in the sign of Pisces, we are really learning how to surrender, and we're really learning how to receive. We're learning how to allow modifications to come in and reposition our course. We're learning how to allow these changes in. We're at a point in time where flexibility can really be used as an ally and a friend here, but we have to learn how to rely on our intuition. Intuition, it gives us a little bit of a break, a little bit of a pause from the structure, from the consciousness, from the ego that's like, I want to do it like this, this, and this. You know, that structure, sometimes we need a little bit of a break from it. And flexibility, our intuition, the divine feminine, helps us to sort of release the need to be partnered up with structure. Intuition really gives us the ability to sort of separate from that from a moment and say, you know what, let me just sort of step out of that mold and allow myself to just kind of feel, what is it that I feel? So if you get too caught in your head, Mars in Pisces is going to drown you in options. This is why I'm saying you might not want to be so gung-ho for the structure and the, you know, making sure you stick to your schedule, making sure you stick to things as planned, making sure you stick to this and that, making sure you stick to things right now, is not a good idea. We kind of want to be a little bit more flexible, a little more mutable. We are in the season of mutable energy. It's going to really help us to apply this mutable energy to our own personal life and say, you know what, if things go awry, if things don't work out in the way that I've been planning them to, if my plans don't materialize the way that I've been envisioning them, that's okay. You know, we have to sort of learn how to say that's okay during Gemini season. If not, we may get very frustrated with ourselves, very overwhelmed at the fact that things are just not working out the way that we need them to. And with Mars in Pisces is like, let's just live a little. You know, Mars in Pisces is the type that would be like, I don't feel like going to work today. I kind of just want to I just kind of feel like going to the beach. Or I just kind of feel like sitting at home and watching movies. Mars in Pisces is going to tempt you to forego your duties and responsibilities. So don't think too hard about your options. Just feel them out instead. So this is kind of like intuitive training. Don't force yourself. Don't pressure yourself. If you need a break, do it. Take it. Take a break, take a rest, relax a little bit, but make sure that you have a few boundaries here, because Neptune and Piscean energy can definitely intoxicate us. This Piscean, Neptunian energy can really sort of take you away from your path, and it's useful at certain times. At certain times, we really heavily need this energy, but most of the time, more time than not, we need to have boundaries when it comes to Neptune and Pisces, because too much of this energy, too much time off, for instance, let's just say if you're just like, you know what, I feel like kind of just taking a break today with exercising. Let me just sort of enjoy myself, sit back, have some dessert, have some chocolate, and not worry about it. Let me just enjoy myself, right? We need that every now and again, right? But if you don't have a few boundaries where you're like, but tomorrow I'm gonna get back to it, or Monday I'm gonna get back to it, or 2 days from now I'm gonna get right back to it. If we don't have those boundaries, too much time off from the path, from the course, can dissuade us from getting back on course. Too much flexibility can discourage the want or need for structure, and vice versa. Now moving on to Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus loves Mars in Pisces. Uranus and Taurus loves a Mars without direction, because this gives Uranus all the space, time, and opportunity that it needs to be disruptive, to be chaotic, to be a rebel, to be the individual, to do his own thing. This really gives him a lot of breathing room to say, great, now I can let my hair down. Now I can do whatever the hell I want to do. Now I can sort of fall off the beaten path and just do my own thing. Whatever it is that means. Now I can just sort of be like led by the wind. So Uranus is really enjoying soaking up this time that Mars is in Pisces. Uranus in Taurus square Mars in Pisces is like when that older perfect sibling finally screws the hell up, and so they're not able to get on your case for a little bit, and it's just like you're grounded or you're in the doghouse, so I don't want to hear nothing. Don't be ratting me out to mom and dad. And this is really helpful to us because this is buying us some time. Those of us that need a little break or are feeling exhausted, or like you just want to do nothing for a little bit. You know that feeling where it's just like, I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to have to show up. I don't want to have to be anywhere. I don't want to have to be on all the time. I don't want to have to be plugged in all the time. Mentally, I want to be off. Spiritually, sometimes we want to be off. Emotionally, physically, sometimes we just want to be off, and we are allowed that. Just like the planets, they go retrograde. So this is exactly what's happening here with Uranus square Mars. Mars in Pisces is all about going with the flow. Like I was using that example earlier, like, you know what? I don't feel like going to work. I just want to go to the beach today. Well, before quarantine, right? And so, Mars is really going to influence us. Mars in Pisces is going to influence us a bit to do what we're not supposed to do. Pisces is the one giving us permission to not take things so seriously anymore. And this is strange to Mars, the god of war. Everything is serious for the god of war, because it's like, if I don't take this serious, this is life or death for me. Like I said, Pisces is really influencing us to not take things too seriously, and this is just odd for Mars. He doesn't really know what to do with himself in this energy here. So like I said, this might feel a little conflicting for you. This might bring up some sort of conflicting feelings where it's just like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but I kind of don't want to. What if I kind of feel like not doing that today? Well, that's okay, But like I said, just make sure you have a few boundaries. That the way it's like you can cut off the fun time. It's kind of like staying too late at the party. You never want to be the last one to leave. So moving on here to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto retrograde. Like I was talking about in the very beginning of this video, we are going to have to talk about the retrogrades because they're happening, and they're happening with some pretty big planets. Now, the interesting thing happening here is Jupiter and Saturn is trining the sun and moon for this new moon, and Pluto is trining the sun for this new moon. Jupiter going retrograde is the same thing as us feeling as though our beliefs, our faith is under fire. Feeling as though we are questioning what it is that we believe in. We're questioning what resonates with us. This is a really not hard time, but it's going to be a little bit more challenging to tap into our intuition. This is why I was saying we are intuitively training. We are training the intuition right now. We're exercising it. And so basically, with us sort of feeling disconnected from our intuition or second guessing our intuition, we're going to have to be able to know how to take some time off a little bit every now and then, just to sort of recenter, just to sort of tap back into ourselves and really listen to the self, listen to the body. Now, Saturn going retrograde, because Saturn is also going retrograde. Saturn going retrograde is very odd. It's almost like Saturn trying to reconstruct its own damage. It's almost like Saturn is on cleanup duty when he's in retrograde. Saturn is almost like composting what it is that he's destroyed. He's taking it and he's actually repurposing it. And with Pluto also being retrograde as well, this is the ultimate fuse to a bomb. Pluto retrograde is a reset, the ultimate reset. I always describe Pluto as like the water that formed the Grand Canyon, just running water over thousands and thousands, maybe even millions of years. That's exactly Pluto's energy. Pluto is a very slow moving planet, but because it's such a slow moving planet, it brings so much transformation. And that is why Pluto is so intense, because it moves so slow. So that water that carved out the Grand Canyon, that slow moving water carved out a pathway, a road, a trajectory. That's exactly what Pluto does. So when Pluto goes retrograde, that's like the water that carved out the Grand Canyon going still. So with still waters, it's solidifying these changes that Pluto has made even more. It's making these carvings, changes, and transformations even more permanent as it sinks in. Pluto retrograde is all about sinking it in. Allow it to sink in. Allow these changes, these transformations, these conversions, these endings, these deaths, these beginnings, allow them to sink in. Just feel it. drown yourself in it. I had this vision a few weeks ago. This is right before I received the download for this new moon in Gemini. And this might have just been personally for me, just personally. But I saw this door that I finally became aware of, and it was in like this dark black space. There was nothing around except for this door. And for so long I was scared of approaching that door and opening it because I knew what was behind it. But this time I decided to walk right up to the door and open it. And what came rushing in, flooding in, was water. And I think that I was unconsciously aware of this door because I knew the second that I opened it, I had to drown. I had to flood. The most amazing thing about that was it was like, yeah, my worst fear was realized. It did drown me. I did drown. I lost a part of myself, but I lost the old part of myself that was no longer in alignment with my future. And so it was like, yeah, your worst fear is realized, but behind that worst fear is your greatest blessing. It's the thing that you want the most. And there's no other way for us to move forward without releasing, without surrendering. The part of us that's going to drown, the part of us that's going to die is the part of us that we no longer need. And that was a very profound visual for me because I realized like, wow, I was running from this because it wasn't me that was running from this. It was the old me that could sense, oh no, I'm about to get my ass drowned. It's the old scared, threatened, intimidated part of us that's afraid of that change because it knows that I'm no longer needed. And so sometimes the part of us that's influencing us to run away or to not deal with things is the part of us that doesn't want to be let go of. It's the part of us that doesn't want to die off. So Pluto retrograde is exactly that. It is us getting drowned. It is these changes sinking in, imprinting into our lives and consciousness. And this is why this is the ultimate bomb. It's the ultimate detonator that really just sets off this massive evolution. All of these retrogrades at the end of the day, what they are doing is they're sinking in. What they're doing is they are compressing us. And it is breaking down barriers. It's breaking down boulders. It's breaking down blockages. It is breaking down things that we were stubbornly, rigidly dedicated and committed to. Some of us have been dedicated to our blockages. Some of us have been like Siamese twins to our blockages, to our resistance, to the very same things that were in our way we have chosen to couple up with. And the universe knew that, hey, we're going to have to keep hammering down, beating this dead horse, beating it down until it is ready to surrender, until it is ready to receive this change. So if it seems like a lot of different things are going wrong in your life or have been going wrong in your life, it's one thing after the other after the other. It is because you might be trying to resist surrender. You might be trying to resist receiving. In order to claim our blessings, we have to receive them. And if we are blocked by something, we can't receive. So sometimes we have to get beat down in order for those blessings to come in because we are the main ones that is keeping that door closed. Like, no, I don't want to open that damn door. I'm not opening that. I know it's back there. You're not going to play me. You know, some of us have those conversations with the universe. Subconsciously, we do it where you're like, oh no, you're not going to get me. I'm not falling for that. Yeah, that person seems great, but I'm not falling for another relationship. You saw what happened with my last one. And the universe is trying to bless you with like your twin flame or something crazy, right? I don't know why we think of ourselves in that way, where it's just like, the universe is after me. No, it's not after you. It's trying to bless you. Big difference. Big difference. So all these retrogrades have done after a long season of destruction and transformation is make things and or us more malleable, more flexible, more adaptable, more versatile, more tolerant, cooperative, forgiving, amenable. Easiest time to reshape our lives because we are in such a state of surrender. That long season of destruction, deconstruction, transformation, what it was doing was it was deconditioning us. It was deprogramming us. Many of us have been programmed for failure. We've been programmed for the rat race. We've been programmed to be the little hamster in the wheel. And we had to be deconditioned from that. It's easier to work with clay than concrete. The concrete blocks in our life had to be broken down and then melded down right back into clay. So it's like us being formed up into some sort of, concrete statue, and something is breaking us down back into the clay that we once were. And that's exactly what's happening. We're deprogramming. We're deconditioning. And now at this point, as co-creators, The universe is coming to us and is saying, hey, we want to collaborate with you. We want to rebuild you. As co-creators, do we decide to collaborate with the universe? Or do we decide to like collaborate with the shadow? Do we decide to collaborate with a fractured ego? Do we decide to collaborate with the past? Something that already got us to this point where we're going through so much destruction. We are creators slowly mastering the art of refining life to fit our wants and needs. But in order for that to happen, we had to learn how to work with the things that are broken down, damaged, unreliable, old. We are working with the debris of our tower moments. Remember, the tower is us. It's us. The tower, that whole building that's coming down, is a representation of us, our ego, this vessel, this body, this being. We're only given one tower in this incarnation. So naturally, we're going to go through moments where the tower falls down and then we have to build it right back up. That's what the wheel is. That's exactly what the wheel is. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. So we have to learn how to allow the old tower to fall and master the art of rebuilding and reinforcing a brand new one. And we're usually building a brand new one from the debris of the old one. We're constantly learning to reinvent ourselves, to reconstruct ourselves, to deconstruct and then reconstruct ourselves all over again. And that is also what we were learning to accept with this North Node just recently moving to the sign of Gemini and South Node moving into the sign of Sagittarius. But I will be coming out with a pick a card on that later. It was viewer requested, really great idea to do a pick a card on the North and South nodes. So that will be coming out soon, you guys, all right? So thank you guys so very much for tuning in. This marks the end of the astrological portion of this video. So we're just gonna go on ahead and jump straight into the meditation for the tarot spread. Now with the tarot cards coming up here, I do have 3 different piles that you guys can select from, but I have also included in a general collective reading for all of us before I get to the 3 piles. Okay, so yeah, let's just go on ahead and jump straight into this meditation. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in, and let's just get started. You guys, I'm so sorry my camera died. Had to take some time, charge it back up. But for the general reading, the tarot cards that we have here, the very first one that popped out was the 4 of Wands in reverse. Hopefully you guys can see it. I know there's like a glare with these cards. But yeah, the first one is the 4 of Wands in reverse that we got. Then the 7 of Swords in reverse. This card has been following me around everywhere. Like the last month, it's just been popping up everywhere. Not even just in my readings, but like everywhere. And then the final card that was underneath the deck, the Sun. The thing that I'm picking up here is the 4 of Wands represents home, belonging, the place that we belong, the place that we feel most comfortable, most safe, most like us. It's the place that we feel comfortable enough to reveal the innermost part of us, to reveal our moon sign, right? So the home is where the ego strips away and the moon sign comes out if we feel comfortable, you know? That's what home is supposed to represent, the idea of that. I know that not everybody has a comfortable space, a comfortable dwelling space where they feel comfortable enough to be themselves, but you know, that's the idea behind home. So that's what we're getting with the 4 of Wands. This is in reverse. 7 of Swords, this is the card where somebody is trying to, I'll put up a picture of it. I'll put up a picture of both these cards actually. 7 of Swords is the card where somebody is stealing 6 swords and they are looking behind them at another sword that they could possibly get. It's like, even though they've gotten away with stealing 6 swords, they want just one more. And so it's like 7 of Swords is like, it's never enough. It's never enough. There's so much like, I don't even want to say this card is greed. There's greed in this card. It's just that it's not enough. This person is so afraid of lacking, being in lack, being in a state of lack. This is a person, 7 of Swords, and when we deal with 7 of Swords, this is a person that is afraid of lack. They're afraid of something being unsatisfactory. They're afraid of something not being good enough. They are afraid of not being good enough. They are afraid of not having enough. There is the issue of there being enough here, being comfortable in a space where there feels like there's not enough. Very many of us are not comfortable comfortable being in this space where it's like, you know what, in the nest, there was more than enough. I was comfortable. I felt safe. I felt secure. I didn't have to worry about being outside of the nest. When I was in the nest, I didn't have to worry about the Seven of Swords. I didn't have to worry about somebody trying to come in and steal or take something that was mine. I don't have to worry about that in the nest. This is why very many of us don't want to leave the nest, because we don't have to worry about certain things. But this is a thing that you are giving up if you decide to stay in the nest. If you decide to stay in your comfortable, safe space, in your comfort zone, this is what you're giving up. This is what you're sacrificing. You're sacrificing the sun. And the sun card is when we are finally in a state of bliss. We are fine. I'll put up a picture of that card as well. But the sun card is a baby riding around on a horse. It's kind of a disorienting card. You know, it's this baby like riding around on a horse and having the time of its life. And this is to show us in a state of bliss. We were most ourselves and most comfortable being ourselves, most accepting of ourselves when we were a child. So this is that inner child coming back out. And this is why the sun is depicted with a child in the card. Towards the end of our lives, we realize like, wow, I cared about a lot of things that never fucking mattered. And I cared about a lot of things that kept me from embracing my inner child, that kept me from embracing my true self, that kept me from being truly fulfilled, that kept me from truly enjoying and living this life. And we realize this later on in life. And this is why I love hanging around old people, because they just don't give a damn. They're just like, I'm too old to care. You know, this is just who I am, whatever. Like, they could care less about status quo. They could care less about vanity. They could care less about fitting in. They are just them. And it's like returning to that inner child place where it's just like, this is who I was when I came in here. And it just shows that evolutionary process of I'm returning to that person that I came here as. This is really us returning to that place. Now, the thing is that we may be scared of not being enough. We might be afraid of the inner child might scare us because we might feel like I'm not enough. I'm not enough. My inner child is not enough. That's when a lot of us began, this process of being conditioned was when we were children. And very many of us, we fell into that conditioning because we believed that a part of us wasn't good enough. And that's why we changed certain parts of ourselves to be more acceptable in society, to be more desirable in society to other people. We're pack animals. You know, it is okay to want camaraderie with your peers. It is okay to want to fit in with your peers. It is okay to want to be accepted with your peers. And this is all about acknowledging that and saying, I do want to be accepted, but I want the real me to be accepted, because the fake me, this manufactured me, this tower me that I no longer resonate with, that's not who I want you to get to know me as. Because when I reveal my true self, what if I'm not enough for you? What if you don't accept me? Then this relationship is built on a lie. So this is all about building a real, solid, truthful, honest foundation of who we are and making connections with other people that accept us for who we are as well. Okay, so Four of Wands in reverse, we're losing that conditioning. We're losing that safe space. We're losing that safe space, you know? So this is us giving up the nest, Four of Wands, and taking a risk, Seven of Swords. And it's going to work out. The sun is going to work out. If we take that risk, that's going to work out. This risk is not unnecessary, you guys. It's very needed. It feels unnecessary because we don't want to do it. It's very, very comfortable in the Four of Wands. It's very comfortable, right? Very comfortable territory. You don't have to worry about the Seven of Swords like I was talking about when you're in the nest. But the nest, you know, that comfortable space, that nest, that comfortable space is also keeping you from realizing your dreams with the sun. It's that simple. It's that simple. Whatever you think is risky is actually holding all your rewards. Whatever you think is a risk is actually your reward. Best way to sum this up. Best way to sum this up. Another thing that I wanted to say with the Seven of Swords, as well as with this Four of Wands and the Sun card here, is be careful of jealousy, you guys. Please be careful of jealousy at this time, because there's a clear line of separation between the people that have been doing internal work, and the dots are starting to connect and align for you guys. For those of you that have been doing internal work, the dots are really starting to align for you. And the thing is you're starting to see that clear path or trajectory, but there's so many people that have not been internally searching. They haven't been internally searching. Where's that card? They haven't been internally searching. Instead, they're just trying to go by and just take people's resources. They're trying to, the work that you have done thus far, all that internal work, all the blood, sweat, and tears that you have shed to get this far, there are people out here that would rather chew off their left arm than have to put in a fraction of that amount of work. And when you're dealing with people like that, they will happily try to take your resources from you because they are trying to avoid having to do their own. Okay? They're trying to avoid having to gain their own resources, having to labor and work for their own resources. So be extremely careful right now, you guys, with jealousy. Jealousy is really, it's high right now. It's just like something intuitively that I can feel, something that we really need to watch out for, because there's people that we aren't expecting that aren't necessarily supportive of us. And I'm not saying that they're bad people. They're probably just in their own state of lack. They're in their own state of Seven of Swords in reverse moment, Four of Wands in reverse moment, feeling as though they're separated from their comfort. And I'm feeling scared, and I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like I don't have enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough opportunities. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough of whatever it is that I think I need to get to the point where I see you are at. And this is why people resort to Seven of Swords. Let me just take what I can from people because I can't get to where they are. Seven of Swords comes from a lack of belief, a lack of faith in the self. If you really want to see people's true colors, start getting your life together. So be very, very careful with jealousy right now. You know, because like I was saying, you're starting to see that clear path, but there's so many people that have not been internally searching, and they are just as lost now as they were before all of these issues, before all of this transformation, before this pandemic. Some people are literally stuck in the same place that they were before all of these things happened, and they're seeing you progressing, they're seeing you moving, they're seeing you thriving, they're seeing you getting better, they're seeing you find clarity, they're seeing you find power and confidence, they're seeing you find your footing, finding your own place, finding your place of belonging. And it is freaking people out because they're feeling like they're getting left in the dust. Okay, so you know, these people that are blind, they're going to envy your ability to see. These people that are ignorant, they're going to envy your ability to know. Be careful, cautious, and selective about who and what you exchange your energy with, because there's a lot of people out here right now reaching for that life vest. Just reaching for that life vest, reaching all over the place, right? And you know, it's like, meanwhile, you're on this yacht, you're on this boat that you've crafted on your own. You built it all on your own. No one helped you design or build this yacht up. You built it on your own. And so, you know, they're just kind of watching you sail right by, and they're trying to reach on, grab on whatever they can, a branch, a leaf, a lily pad, a life vest, another person. They don't care, you know, so be very careful with that right now. So let's go ahead and quickly go through the oracle cards here. That way I can get to the rest of the piles. Like I said, this is just the collective general reading pile, okay? So no matter what pile you selected, if you selected all of them, this general reading can also apply to you as well, okay? So let's see what cards we have. And the very first one that we have, you guys, look at this. I'm not even going to pretend. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name. But the card here is potential. Potential. This is what the entire collective is working with, this feminine energy that realizes our potential. We have to realize our potential. We're stealing from ourselves. Seven of Swords in reverse, we're stealing from ourselves. This is self-inflicted. Usually when I see reversals, I'm seeing something that's more so self-inflicted, or it's a blockage, or it's some sort of process that has been stopped. But for me, the Seven of Swords in reverse is saying this is self-inflicted. You are literally sabotaging yourself by not accepting yourself fully, by not allowing your inner child to, you know, speak out, to express itself, to be realized. And then the next card that we have here, the Moon. So this is the Moon coming through. She's trying to come through to say, hey, you guys, actually work with me. Work with me. This new moon in Gemini, I feel like, is one of the most important moons of 2020 to work with. She just keeps coming through saying, I want you to talk to me. This new moon in Gemini, she's very verbal. She's very expressive. She wants to hear from us. She wants you to talk to her, right? Whether that's writing down your intentions, speaking them out, using affirmations, subliminals, whatever the case. If it's words, if it's music, if it's poetry, if it's art, whatever it is, she wants you to communicate with her. Gemini is all about communication, learning, information. So this new moon, she wants you to communicate. That is how you're going to really tap into your moon frequency. That's how you can feel her, is by communicating with her with this new moon, okay? Other cards that we got here, the crystal cards, was Tiger's Eyes. And then we have here selenite. Selenite is all about cleansing the aura. I actually use a selenite, this selenite wand. This is one of my very many selenite wands. Like, especially before I meditate, I'll take the selenite wand and just sort of like use it over myself like this, just to kind of remove anything that may be sort of stuck to like my my auric field, something like that, because there's things that get stuck to our auric fields all the time. Our auric field is literally like a Venus flytrap. It's just sticky, and you know, things can sort of get like caught on it. And you know, selenite really does help to remove certain things from you. So even before a spiritual bath, if you decide to take a spiritual bath for this new moon, use some selenite, just take it over you, and it will really seriously release your auric field of anything that has maybe attached itself to you. Look at these other two oracle cards, you guys. Look at this. We got purification with the sunflower. Purification. That's wild. That's amazing. And then you guys are never going to believe this. What was I talking about this entire video? I was talking about trajectory, right? Look at that. You guys see that? It says going forward. What is this? What is this revealing? It's revealing a path. A path to what? What's back there, you guys? The sun. Do you see that back there? Do you see that? That's what's back there waiting for you. But it's a pathway. It's a pathway you have to take. And first we have to be purified. We have to be deconditioned. The final cards that we have here, as far as different herbs and flowers, things that we could work with, we have Snapdragon. And this is all about graciousness and benevolence. Yes, just being happy. Just having gratitude for yourself, appreciating yourself, having gratitude for yourself, for your body. A state of gratitude is one of the best frequencies to be on. I love being in that frequency. And then the next card that we have here is Sweet William. And this is all about grant me a single smile. Just smile through it, you guys. Again, more stuff with joy coming forward, just like the Sun card here. And then we have here Hope, and this is different essential oils. Okay, so these two cards here are the cards for essential oils, and it says Hope. Trigger statement, I will not forget. True statement, I open my heart. Release the suffering and take another step forward, sweet one. Take another step forward. Going forward, you guys. Cannot make this up. Cannot make this up. Going forward. Release the suffering and take another step forward, sweet one. With each step, you will see more light and healing. Release the suffering. Like I was saying, allow that Pluto water to drown you. The only thing that's going to drown are the parts of you that you no longer need. And then the final card that we have here for the general reading is intimacy, and it says this is too good to be true. That's the trigger statement. The true statement is it can only get better. This is the essential oil of cinnamon. Cinnamon is so powerful. And then it also says here at the bottom, allow yourself to experience more joy and love. Raise your resonance by swimming in the sweetness of life. Oh yes, and then I have one more card, aquamarine, for a crystal. And let me just read what that means out of the book real quick. Okay, so it says aquamarine has long been a healing gem associated with the sea and also with stimulating psychic abilities. It was believed to protect against seduction. Wow, okay. It says you are deeply intuitive, but you need to assess this realistically. Do not be seduced by vivid imaginings, like I was talking about with Mars and Neptune in the sign of Pisces, you guys. It says do not be seduced by vivid imaginings, wishful thinking, or spiritual claptrap. Use your imagination to create what is right for your highest good, and well-being follows. If you fall into depression, remember that hope shines in the darkest places, like the Sun card. Divination, release self-defeating programs, listen to your inner guidance, but be objective. Accept what's on offer. Like I was telling you guys, inner guidance, we are intuitively exercising right now. Watch out for idle gossip. Watch out for idle gossip. Tie up loose ends before moving on. Remain emotionally detached. Avoid procrastination. Success may come in a court case. Stay positive and remember your family. There is no reason to lose the hope in your heart, since well-being is a state of mind. Avoid procrastination, you guys. All right, pile number one, let's get to your cards. So the tarot card that we have for you here is the Sovereign of Wands, otherwise known as the Queen of Wands. And so basically what I'm picking up here, pile one, is this new moon will be all about you focusing solely on your confidence, okay? What do you think you want or need to be more confident? In what way might you in what way might you be afraid to express yourself? You know, this is really all about, I'm just looking at your card here. But this is just really all about, in what way are you afraid to express yourself? Are you afraid of being noticed, being seen, being recognized, being talked about? Well, guess what? You're a Queen of Wands, pile one. You are a Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands, she does not sit idly on her throne. She doesn't sit quietly. She doesn't sit nicely. She is the center of the party. She is the center of attention always. Every time her presence is around, she's the center of attention. This is your energy, pile one, to be the center of attention, to be recognized, to be noticed. That is something that you really want to work on accepting, because until you learn to accept it, you're just going to be fighting and resisting your own inner light, your own inner child, your own purpose. You're going to be really wrestling with your own spirit that's like, hey, you know, we're supposed to shine, you know? And so, yeah, you don't want to wrestle with your own spirit when it comes to that. You know, you're a Queen of Wands, so it's going to happen. You're going to be recognized. So really try to embrace it, try to manifest it. Talk to Mama Luna, talk to the moon about whatever you need to do to move forward confidently. Whatever it is that you need to do that's going to help build your confidence up. That's going to be very, very important for my pile ones, because with the Queen of Wands here, she's a very seen figure. She's a very noticed figure. She's a very known figure, okay? And so that lets me know right there that your energy, especially for this new moon in Gemini, is all about really focusing on the fact that you trying to embrace or accept being in this sort of stature where you're so recognized, or where you're a public figure, where your life is out there. So you might be a very private person that's kind of like really turned off by the public life. But this seems like something that you might need to embrace possibly at this point in time in your life, in your journey, okay? So let me see. I feel like there's something else with this Queen of Wands that I need to mention. Give me a second. Queen of Wands energy is also saying for you to stand up for yourself. If you're dealing with someone or anyone that feels oppressive, that feels like they're always talking over you, not consulting you, walking over you, just not really respecting your space, not really respecting you as a person, not really respecting your voice, your opinion, your being, you need to stand up for yourself. There's something here where like this Queen of Wands, she's trying to ignite a fire in you where you're like, you know what? No, I am here. I am going to be recognized. I am going to be heard. You're going to hear me. So if there's something that you need to defend yourself, stand up, if you need to stand up for yourself to another person, this is definitely this Queen of Wands coming through to say, hey, you know, it's about that time for you to be recognized. It's about that time for you to be respected. And it's about that time for you to start demanding it. Okay, so this Queen of Wands here, she really wants my pile ones to demand it. Let's go on ahead and quickly get through you guys' oracle cards here. Told you guys these weren't going to be too long. Sorry. Hopefully you guys are getting something from this. But yeah, so let's just go with the first couple of crystal cards here. So we have Seraphos, green quartz. That may be significant to you. Green also deals with the heart chakra. And then we have here turquoise. Turquoise is a very powerful stone as well. So these two crystals may be significant to you. And then we also have here, look at this, you guys, the oracle card, illumination. Yes, Queen of Wands, she's trying to bring light to a situation. She's trying to get you to recognize who you are, to realize who you are. She wants you to start demanding people to see you in the way that you want to be seen, for sure. Illumination, this is like the fog is clearing away. The fog is clearing away and I can finally see the landscape. I can finally see what's happening around me. And then we have here the two essential oil cards. Or no, let's go over the goddess card first. So the goddess card that came out for you guys, my pile ones, is Kuan Yin, compassion. Have compassion for yourself. Have some compassion for yourself, pile one. You know, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't feel like, especially if there's been somebody around you that's been sort of oppressing you, that's been sort of like beating down on you, or they're just not allowing you to express yourself. They're not allowing you to get a word in, to say what you want to say, to have your own opinion. Make sure that you have some compassion with yourself and you don't beat down on yourself about not speaking up sooner, not speaking up loud enough, not saying enough, not doing enough. You know, make sure that you're not feeling like you're not doing enough. You know, have some compassion with yourself. As well as with this Kuan Yin card, what I'm picking up here, some of you guys, you really are in for it. You're really due for like just a spa day, a relaxing day, something where you can sort of take your mind off of things and just relax. So some compassion for yourself, you know, maybe have like a nice like goddess bath for this new moon. Even if you're a man, you know, I know society tells men that they are not allowed to treat themselves. Men, you heard it here first. You are allowed to treat yourself. You're allowed to go out, get a nice manicure, pedicure, take care of yourself. It feels amazing to take care of the self, right? So, you know, even if you're a man and you want to run a bath and you just want to enjoy yourself and just sort of soak in some whatever, I don't know, whatever it is that men use in their baths or whatever, you know, that's something that some of you are very due for. You're very in the need for is some rest, relaxation, you know, some laughs, some good time, and some compassion for sure. The next couple of cards that we have here is your essential oil cards, and we have renewing, and it's all about forgiveness. It says trigger statement, I did not deserve this. True statement, I forgive. And it says allow the labels of judgment to disappear. See, the situations and individuals through your heart, forgive yourself, just like compassion here. And then it says allow the labels of judgment to disappear. Like I was talking about, you guys, you pulled the Queen of Wands. This is all about being confident. So don't think that you're not enough. Don't beat up on yourself. It's okay. You know, and it's all about forgiveness, and this is renewing. Okay, and then the next card that we have here is Roman Chamomile. This is all about destiny. Trigger statement, I am lost. True statement, I do what I love. I love that. It says there's a path waiting just for you. Open your heart and mind so you can use it on your journey of fulfillment. This is all about being fulfilled, you guys. And with the Queen of Wands, she's the queen that is seated right beside her unconscious. Her unconscious is seated right next to her on her throne, and her unconscious is represented as a black cat. And then we have the card here as far as a flower or an herb, hydrangea, and it says thankfulness for understanding. Before we can forgive one another, we have to understand one another. So there's a lot here about forgiveness that keeps coming up. There's a lot of forgiveness that needs to happen. And then the final card that we have for my pile ones, rhodochrosite. And this is a stone of love. It's very much so like the rose quartz. It really helps with forgiveness. It helps with heart healing. But let me go on ahead and read the book for that. Pile one teaches the heart to assimilate painful feelings without shutting down. Yeah, dissolving denial and identifying ongoing detrimental patterns. It offers compassionate love and forgiveness. You face the truth with loving awareness. Deep down, you feel alienated, unloved, or unappreciated. Like I was saying, you guys, yeah, this is all about you defending yourself, speaking up for yourself, saying what it is that you need to say. It says here, a history of sexual or emotional abuse creates dis-ease. Sorry, you guys, trigger warning. I did not know that this was in the book. Or you may have misused or feared your sexual power in the past. You may be repressing something you do not want to face. Irrational fears and paranoia and unacceptable emotions need to be acknowledged and transformed. Time for a change of viewpoint. Begin to seek the gifts in your experiences rather than seeing the negative effects. Check out whether what you were taught in childhood is still relevant to the person that you are today. Healing insight, releasing resentment from your heart creates well-being. Again, forgiveness is coming up, and this is dealing with the heart, solar plexus, base, and sacral chakras, okay? So this is all that we have here for pile ones. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I do pray that this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit for these messages today. Hope you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, keep conquering the world. And I'm going to go on ahead and move on to pile number 2. All right, and pile number 2, welcome to your reading. So we're going to be starting off with your tarot cards, and then we'll get to your oracle cards. Okay, so the very first, well, the only tarot card that I pulled for you guys here is the Devil. And for me, this just feels spicy. It feels spicy. It feels indulgent. It feels fulfilling. It feels like this is all I've ever wanted. I don't know why, but that's just the feeling that I'm getting with the Devil card here. So what this is saying to me, I'm just looking down at your card here. But what this is saying to me is this is speaking so loudly and is saying, go after what you want, pile 2, for sure. Don't be meek about it anymore. Don't be meek about what you want, what you need, what your desires are, what you're tempted by. Whatever it is that you want, you need to express it. Say it loudly, okay? So it's okay to, it's okay to not be humble when you are pursuing your goals, dreams, and ambitions, pile 2. The Devil is saying sink your claws and fangs into what you want so deep that it cannot escape your grasp. That is what this Devil card is saying to me. But that may make you uncomfortable to put yourself out there and say, this is what I want. So this is all about being vulnerable enough to say, I want this, and then to go after it without the fear of rejection. Don't worry about rejection. You know, the risk is worth the reward. Like I mentioned in the general pile, the collective reading for all of us, pile 2, I talked about how the risk is worth the reward. And that is exactly, I guess that was the part that needed to be really highlighted here with your pile 2, is that the risk is worth the reward. You have to put yourself out there. If there's something that you want, you have to put yourself out there. This Gemini new moon for my pile 2s is all about putting yourself out there. Don't be worried about rejection. Don't be worried about making a mistake. Don't be worried about embarrassing yourself. Don't be worried about, hey, you know, I wish I would have done this differently. Then just tweak it and do it differently the second time, you know? But don't be worried about it. The risk is worth the reward. But don't be worried about what it looks like, how you look, if it's done perfectly or not. You know, perfection may really be a sort of thing for you here. Follow what it is that you feel you need to do. That's the most important thing for my pile 2s, okay? So, yeah, let's go on ahead and quickly get through you guys' oracle cards. I told you guys these readings are going to be very brief, very short, because I want to get 3 of them out of the way. But I really wanted to just tap into your frequency, just tap into your energy here. I feel like I have. But hopefully you're still getting everything it is that you need out of this reading. So let's go on ahead and start off with your very first oracle card. And we have here wonders. Do you see this? Wonders are going to be done. Things that you can't even believe in your wildest dreams are going to come true just by you putting yourself out there, pile 2. You have to put yourself out there. You have to make it known that, hey, this is what I want. You have to make it known that, hey, I am here and I want something. You have what I want and I'm coming after it. You know, what can we do about this? How can you help me? Help me help you, basically, is what I'm getting here. But this is all about you making it very clear to the universe, making it clear to the people around you, making it clear to your very own self. Hey, I do actually want this. I'm just being truthful with myself. I'm just being honest. I do want this. Let me put myself out there. That's what's really coming through here. And if you are putting yourself out there, then, you know, that's a really good thing. But just make it even more you. You know, make it even more you, make it more centered around you. For some of you, you're trying to start an image or a brand, something like that, that's concerning you. You want to make yourself an image or a brand. Really put yourself out there. Really make it known, this is who I am, and make sure you are being true to who it is that you are with this Devil card here. For those of you that are trying to be like an influencer, you know, create content, something like that. You want to make yourself an image or brand, something along those lines. Make sure that you are being very, very true to who it is that you are, because when you do, what's going to happen is people are going to be so amazed by you. They're going to be so amazed. Look at this, wonders. This is how people are going to see you when you let the real you out, when you really express the real you, when you allow it to really shine as bright as possible. But it is all about putting it out there and saying, hey, this is what I want. I want to make music. I want to work with this person. I want to collaborate with this person. I want to date this person, whatever the case, whatever it is that you want. Put it out there, okay? Put it out there for the universe, put it out there for that other party, and put it out there for you. Okay, the next card that we have here is the goddess that is going to be working with you is, look at this, Mama Gaia, Mother Earth. Okay, so this is all about material blessings. Again, material blessings. The Devil card represents the material archetypal realm. The Devil only deals with the material realm, the material 3D plane. This is exactly what Gaia, Mother Earth, deals with as well. The 3D physical tangible plane. So this is all about bringing things into tangible form. But this is what I'm saying. In order for you to bring that thing into tangible form, you have to put yourself out there. That is one of the greatest wonders about you. It's going to look like you performed magic by saying, hey, you know, this is what I want. And it actually ends up happening. But you have to get past that place of being vulnerable enough, of not fearing vulnerability anymore, and transparency, and just saying, you know what, this is what I want. This is just what I want. Don't be worried about it. If this is about a conversation that you need to have with your partner where you're saying, you know what, I want things to change. I want you to be a little bit more attentive, or I want you to do this, or I want you to do that. It could have something to do with your sex life, maybe, you know. Put it out there. In order for me to be truly fulfilled and happy and satisfied, this is what I want. In order for you to give this thing a chance to manifest, okay? Because no one's going to know. No one's going to be able to help you or collaborate with you if they don't know why you're here and what you want, okay? The next 2 cards that we have here for crystal cards, these may be relevant to you. You may use them a lot. Is we have sodalite here. And sodalite definitely deals with the throat chakra, verbally expressing yourself for sure. And then neumite, beautiful crystal. Never heard of it before, but very beautiful crystal. I'm loving it. It almost looks like black tourmaline a little bit. And as far as your essential oil card goes, we have here lime, and it says, this is a card of gratitude. Trigger statement, I am overwhelmed. True statement, I am moving. And it says the time for planning is complete. Take action no matter how small. Begin today. Exactly, pile 2. Take action no matter how small, no matter if it's just you saying, hey, I'm putting it out there. This is what I want. This is what I need to feel fully satisfied or fully happy, whatever the case. Put it out there. Just say it. Just try saying it. Just try writing it down. Try saying it. Admit it to yourself. That's the first step for very many of my pile 2s, is just admitting it to yourself. The card, the herbal card that we have here is Trumpet Gentian. I don't know how to say this, but it's all about power and healing. To get what you love, you first have to be patient with what you have. There's a lot of power and healing that's going to come from you speaking up, saying what it is that you want, saying what it is that you need, putting yourself out there. Because what you're going to realize is like, wow, I just moved mountains all by myself. Like all I literally had to do was just speak it, and it came into existence. I'm literally speaking into existence. That's what you're doing, pile 2. And then your final card here that we have is Labradorite. It also has to do with the higher chakras, okay? But it says here about labradorite. This is the stone of the mind's eye. Labradorite raises your consciousness to connect to mystical dimensions and the highest protective energies. It strengthens your faith in yourself and aids intuitive guidance. You're an intuitive being with the gift of foresight. Keep yourself grounded. The veil between the worlds is thin. You could easily confuse yourself with imaginings. Aim for clear insights. Hold on to common sense. It is your most effective tool in assessing intuitions and acting on those that are valid. Beware psychic vampires, pile 2. Ensure that you do not have a leaky aura. You face a temporary setback, but a sudden reversal of fortune is possible. Be careful what you wish for. It may come true. Raise your consciousness to the highest levels. Labradorite indicates capricious love. You know what else indicates capricious love, you guys? The damn devil card. The devil card, which is ruled by Capricorn. But it also says giving your energy away is bad for your health. Establishing an efficient interface with the outside world will protect your well-being. This matches with the signs Leo, Scorpio, Sagittarius, the third eye and crown chakras. Okay, so this is all that I'm seeing for my pile 2s. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I do pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit, for these messages today. Hopefully you all connect with me sometime soon, but until next time, stay safe, stay blessed, keep conquering the world, and I'm going to move on to pile 3. All right, in pile 3, welcome to your reading. So let's just go on ahead and start off with your tarot card. Well, there's only one tarot card here. The card that you guys pulled for the Gemini new moon here is the Ruler of Swords, otherwise known as the King of Swords, okay? So pile 3, you might not have set intentions in a while or tried to manifest in some time, but the time for you to reap some blessings is now. For some of you, it's been a while since you've sat down with your guides and connected, like truly connected, instead of just doing it out of habit. But like I was saying, the time for you to reap is now. The thing is though, pile 3, is take some time to really pinpoint what it is that you want. He wants you to know before you approach him. When he asks a question, he wants an answer. He wants you to speak clearly, boldly, loudly, and proudly, so there's no confusion. So where do you need to clear up confusion, pile 3? Where do you need to clear things up in your life? Where do you need to clean up? Where could you use more clarity or direction or purpose? I'm just looking at you guys' card. There's some answers you want from someone as well, I'm picking up here, but don't rely on another person for clarity, pile 3. Some of you want answers from someone, some of you want justice, some of you want the damn hammer to come down on somebody that's maybe wronged you or said something or did something that you just did not like. You were not here for it. If someone is being vague or ambiguous, if they're being aloof, okay, don't wait for them to clarify. Don't wait on them for clarity to be able to come into your life. Don't allow them to make the decision when things are supposed to clear up for you, when answers are supposed to come to you. You've been asking questions. You've been demanding answers all along. And why do they get to decide when those answers and clarity comes? No, they don't. So even if they're not giving you answers, even if you're trying to make a very crucial decision, a very big decision right now, profound decision on, do I stay, do I go, do I deal with this, do I deal with that? How much is enough? You know, if you're really sort of contemplating things like that, contemplating anything, and you're really waiting on another person to sort of help you make that decision or to bring some extra, brain power into the conversation, don't wait on them to make this decision. This decision is not about them. It's about you stepping into your own power and saying, you know what, if you're not going to grab the driver's seat, damn it, I'm going to do it, because I'm not going to allow us to like go off on the highway here. I'm not going to allow us to like go off into the damn ditch. Like, no, I'm going to take control since you're not taking control. Step into your place of control. Step into your King of Swords, pile 3. Step into your King of Swords. Don't rely on another person for clarity. King of Swords is saying you take control and make a decision based off of the information that you have right here, right now, because waiting for this other individual is wasting your time. The King of Swords, he's direct, he's cold, and he's all about the truth because he represents the truth. He is the truth. So he is just all about being direct. And he is a little bit cold when it comes to that. So you could be dealing with someone where it's just like, you have to be a bit cold. You have to sort of cut your emotions off and kind of like, say, I'm sorry, I can't really care about your feelings or even my feelings right now at this point, because action needs to happen. Something needs to be decided. Somebody has to be the adult here. Somebody has to be the one in control. Somebody has to take control. Damn it, pile 1 or pile 3, you need to be the one to take control. You. This is your time to take control. Let's go on ahead and quickly go over your oracle cards here. But New Moon in Gemini for my pile 3, she's saying, take control. Take control of your life. What do you want? What do you need? Take control. The oracle card that we have here, look at this. Beautiful pile 3. Look at that. Success. Success. Oh my God. And this panther is gorgeous. Panther may be your spirit animal. For him to come out so boldly, but he's very bold, isn't he? And you see the way he's like looking? You see the way he's looking? He's looking hungry. Like he has his eye on the prize. Success. He is not going to miss his mark. And when the time comes and it is time for him to charge after his prey, he's going to go after it. And he's going to go after it without fail. He's going to take control when it comes time for him to eat and catch his prey. Same thing that you need to adopt is this panther mentality, this panther energy, this King of Swords panther energy for sure. Okay, the goddess card that we have here working with my pile 3s. Look at this. Beautiful. We have Ma'at, truth. Ma'at, she's a concept of the truth. She's all about equilibrium. Sometimes there needs to be chaos. Sometimes there needs to be disruption and disorder. Other times there needs to be order, structure, and direction. So she's all about knowing what it is that you need to do. Truth. Who else represents the truth? The King of Swords all day represents the truth. And Ma'at, she may be a deity really trying to come to my pile 3s right now. Or you may be working with Ma'at. Okay. And Ma'at, yeah, like I was saying before, for my pile 3s, for some of you, it's been a little bit since you set some intentions, and that's why she's kind of coming through, this higher deity, this higher being here. And the amethyst, exactly, this is the crown third eye chakra activity. That's all amethyst really is saying here, is like your third eye and crown chakra are very active. And so basically something high up really wants your attention. Listen, pile 3, just tune in. Just all you have to do is just tune in. It's like literally saying, okay, well, at 9 o'clock, this TV program is coming on this channel. All you have to do is turn to the channel and boom, you're going to be in connection with some sort of higher up being because they're really trying to get your attention. They really want to talk to you, okay? The card that we have here, the crystal card that we have here is amethyst. That may be profound for you right now, but amethyst definitely connects us to the higher realms, higher states of consciousness, definitely connects us to our crown chakra. And then for the essential oil card, what we have here is peppermint, and this is the card of inspiration. Trigger statement, I am stuck. True statement, I am filled with possibility. Allow yourself to float up above any thoughts or emotions and see what is needed for you to process them and move forward. You guys, what was I saying? You're going to have to remove the emotions, move them out of the way. Step into your King of Swords. Step into your King of Swords. Just like peppermint here. Step into your King of Swords, pile 3, for sure. Okay, and then the herbal card that we have here is daffodil. It says rebirth and new beginnings. New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. Exactly. 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 Move the emotions out of the way. King of Swords, he will deal with a goodbye if he has to. That's what he has to do to maintain order. If that's what he has to do to get ahead, if that's what he has to do for success, he will happily say a goodbye. And the final two oracle cards that we have here is Tiger's Eye, beautiful, and Moldavite. All right, pile 3. So I'm just going to read these cards out of the book real quick. All right, so Tiger's Eye symbolizes prosperity, exactly, just like we have the success card here. Symbolizes prosperity and encourages right use of power. It balances your needs with those of others, finding solutions. Okay, unlock your creativity, find prosperity and lasting success. Long journeys and celebrations lie ahead. Your personal power, confidence, and energy are high. Use them wisely. Commit to goals. Distinguish between wishful thinking and what you really need. Assist friends to gain their heart's desire. Past lives throw light on current situations. This is all about doing what gives you joy, increases your well-being. A child of the sun and earth with untold powers, you make your own fate. Assert yourself wisely. Bring hidden talents to the fore and accept your imperfections. There's a tendency towards obsessiveness or becoming spaced out. Ground yourself. Explore your past lives to discover causes of these traits. Deal sensibly with day-to-day reality and face challenges boldly. And this vibes with Leo, Capricorn, the solar plexus, and third eye chakras. Okay. And then Moldavite, let me read the Moldavite card here. Moldavite, this is the stone of metamorphosis. Moldavite was created when a giant meteorite slammed into Earth some 11 million years ago, fusing the power of the cosmos with that of Mother Earth. Beautiful. The only time I've ever heard from Ma'at, I was actually meditating with some Moldavite, I think on my heart chakra, and she came through and gave me a message. And it was actually on one of my newer full moon videos from a few months ago. I don't remember which one, but yeah, she gave me a message and she came through because I was meditating with Moldavite. And it says here, you are a child of the stars and find the environment of Earth heavy and inert. Moldavite raises your vibrations with inflooding cosmic light so that you feel more at home. You're on a search for the inner grail, awareness of your divine origins, release ingrained beliefs to make way for spiritual metamorphosis. Detach yourself from mundane issues. You are going through a spiritual transformation. So dramatic changes occur as you reach beyond your limits. Talk to your soul to check the outcome of present actions. Transcend time. Avoid sowing seeds of destruction. Fertility and good fortune await. You are far more than a physical body. Harmony at all levels creates your well-being. And this vibrates with the sign of Scorpio. Okay, so this is all that I'm seeing for my pile 3s. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I do pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time out to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now.